Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, traders. Steve here at Logic FX Trading, and welcome to Daily FX Analysis. Let's just start with today's news. In fact, you know what we'll do? We'll go back to yesterday, folks. No major events. Today we have unemployment numbers coming out of the UK. 149,000, but forecast 228. So there's something for the Bank of England to think about over and above Omicron, etc., guys. Unemployment rates remains unchanged, and then with Westpac Consumer Confidence Index coming out later this evening in Australia. Tomorrow, core inflation UK, core inflation in Canada, retail sales, FOMC economic projections, and the Fed interest rate decision, Fed press conference, and GDP growth rate. A lot of information out tomorrow, guys, so we'll have to see how that affects things. Yet again, listening to the experts in inverted commas on Bloomberg, there's a lot of them saying that they don't think the inflation figures are going to have as big an effect on the stock market as initially thought, and therefore the stock market should continue to grow at a slower rate, obviously, but should continue to grow through next year. So that's good to hear, considering that my account's quite deeply drawn down. Yeah, but I think the account's well set up for when we get the next move up, guys, because I've bought a lot of stuff on the way down. I've nothing at the top, if you understand what I mean. Most things have been bought on the way down, so at some point when prices start to come back up again, we'll start to hit those good numbers. And also the way eToro has do their statistics, their statistics include open positions. So if your open positions draw down, they put that out as, that's what you've done. Well, but really it isn't, because when it draws down and then rebounds back up again, anything, provided you haven't closed the positions, of course, guys, anything that was drawn down last month, you'll get back next month, provided, or last year, you'll get it next year, as it were, as it rebounds, comes back up again. So I'm not overly concerned with that, other than the fact that the statistics, they're like a snapshot. So at the end of this year, it's going to look like the account is in the red. So you've worked a whole year and you've come out with a negative figure. But I do think the account will bounce into next year, guys. And therefore, next year we should have a really good year. But still disappointing, that I loaded up just as things were dropping, but they've continued to drop. So, but I think we'll get a good bounce off that. As we come back up to where we were, we'll get a good bounce and we'll pass where I got in. I'm doing that. I'm not actually drawing anything. So we'll talk about that in a moment anyway. So there we have it for today. And then tomorrow, which is Wednesday, we've got, that's tomorrow. Thursday, we've got employment and unemployment Australia, Bank of England interest rate decision, ECB interest rate decision, and then into towards the end of the week, that'll be Friday here, won't it? Saturday the 21st. My goodness, I thought we already went through all of this. That's Monday, guys. 17th through to the 21st. Okay, so let's get on with the charts. These are the alarms that have gone off since the last time we looked at these, the 13th at 5 o'clock this morning. Yeah, so from about 5 o'clock last night. Pound Swiss, pound euro, I suspect those are short, but we'll have a look in a moment. Aussie, New Zealand, it moved. I kept moving it. It kept going up yesterday, guys. New Zealand CAD, Euro Yen, Euro CAD, Euro USD. Remember, we were looking for a drawdown on that before we get to the position where I would like to. There it is there, guys. That's DXY, so it's the opposite. So we're not looking for drawdown in that. We're looking for that to push up. This is DXY. We're looking to see if this will drop to give us nice inputs there, nice positions there to get into. We don't know if that's going to happen, guys, but I suspect we'll get the other side of that zigzag down to balance out that impulse. And then from around here, we'll see what it looks like if it gets there. From around there, I'll start to look to trade the dollar long again, guys. Now, obviously with the Fed talking on, today, you could get a reaction and it could go from here, guys, or maybe you get a negative reaction that drops from here. But I don't tend to trade the news. The only thing is I would be a little bit concerned that we potentially miss the dollar going long. So have to keep an eye on that today and see. But I don't like jumping into things when I don't have it set up. And that for me is not a setup to go long. So we'll leave it at that. Okay. Over to the yen. It's still running flat, guys. We'll have to see if we end up getting the other side of this, which was what we were looking for. Don't know about that one yet. DXY we just spoke about. Expecting it to go long, but whether it'll go long from here or whether we'll get a completed zigzag there before it goes is the only thing that's in my head. And then you have to take that and put it into the other major pairs. And if you're right, then you'll get what I'm going to talk about here. And if I'm wrong, then we won't. So if we get that drawdown DXY, we should see a move up there. That's what the Euro USD alarm was all about. You can see there if I actually clean this up a little bit. Oops, took too much off there. Little zigzag down, breaking out. Could well end up here. I would like to see it breaking that top. And then at that stage, we would have our drawback on DXY. And, maybe it looks something like that. And then we start to look to trade it down, guys. I don't know if we're going to get that. And as I say, depending on what the Fed says today, you may get a lot of movement in this today. But which direction? Well, I don't know. I suspect it will be short. Yeah. Just depends on what the Fed's going to say, guys. Okay. Pound. It's turning there, but we're only looking for a short pullback on this before we potentially trade it down again. The Aussie, well, we said the other day we were looking for a correction of that move before potentially there's a trade. New Zealand, something similar. It's coming in a little bit flat, which, that's to do with the weakness in the New Zealand at the minute. In other words, it's not strong enough to pull it back up. But there's the original thing that we put on here, guys. We put that on way back over here somewhere. Said it'll maybe run flat. Reason being there wasn't a lot of strength in the New Zealand to pull it up. Now, the other little interesting thing here is that I've just noticed is, are we getting some sort of ending diagonal on here? It's not something I'm looking for, because for that to happen, you would have to have a reason for the dollar to go short. It's about getting everything in the right time frame, guys. If that were to happen, maybe this gives us a trade up there. But I don't think I'd want to try and trade that. Reason being is that when you get an ending diagonal, I want to trade it with trend. So in other words, if the trend's like that, for me, an ending diagonal that looked like that would be your setup to continue trading with trend. If trend's like that, and you have that situation, then you get a little drop and then off it goes again, guys. And I don't particularly want to gamble on that drop, because it doesn't necessarily have to happen. But if you're trading with trend, then these are usually an overreaction to a sell-off. Or in this case, it would be a buy, but if you had it the other way around, it'd be an overreaction to a sell-off, and then off you go again. So I hope you understand that. If you understand anything about Elliot, you'll know what I'm talking about there, guys. So I'll probably not try and trade that up because you'd be trading against the dollar, and I don't want to trade against the dollar. Can I be wrong? Of course I can be wrong, guys. US CAD. Look at this. I didn't have the courage to trade this. When we got that, I drew something like this in and then said maybe it'll drop off again. Now, why would it drop off? Well, I don't know that that's on the cards anymore. Let's have a look at the CAD. You see, that's it. That's it in reverse. You see, way back, I need to put dates on these. Way back, I was looking for something like that in a kind of range. Now, obviously, that didn't come back to the top. But is it at the bottom of the range? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. Interesting. Could you see some more downside to this? Quite possibly. Maybe it's not a range. Maybe it's a zigzag, guys. So off it comes, pushes up, and drops again to give you a half decent correction on that. $61. If you just measure that. Now the problem with this is that for this to happen, the CAD would have to drop, but that's not too bad. So maybe 50% is a closer target there. Let's go back to CAD US. So if that were to happen, then this would go long, guys. Yeah, this would go long. The only reason that could potentially happen would be, yet again, if we got that on the XY. But I think the trend's up. So I'm not going to try and trade that down. If it comes down there, I'll think about maybe trying to trade it back up. US Swiss. Yet again, potential will come down to there. And if it does, then we'll think about trading it up. Can it go long from here? It can, depending on what happens on DXY. Same thing there. We're looking for that to drop a little bit further, which would give us a trade in that direction. US yen, looking for it to drop a little bit more to give us a trade in that direction. If the dollar does drop, then you could see this pushing up, guys. But I have no faith at the minute in gold or silver, other than what we talked about yesterday. If this were to drop further and give us a 5-wave diagonal down here, then from around here, we'd start to think about buying that up. Bitcoin continues to, it's hanging around there, guys. Is that the bottom and that's starting to go up? I don't know. I'd be a lot happier if it come down into that sort of region. And obviously it's drawing everything else down. And I finally bit the bullet with cryptos on the eToro account. And they're all drawn down. But once this starts going long again, they'll come into their own. Ethereum, same thing. Looking for more downside to it. If it were to get down to here, I'd certainly look at potentially buying it long. Oil looks like it's on its way back up. Euro CAD. Now, I'm not entirely sure why this is happening, or whether it's going to continue. Euro Oz. The same with this one. This is on 4 hours, remember. I was looking for this to drop. It's pulled back. There's absolutely no reason why it still can't drop from here. But hold on, maybe I know why. Listen, if this continues down, obviously you would get a push further up on the euro, and then when DXY turns, you'll see it dropping off. So that's one to think about, guys. Euro New Zealand, it's pushed further up, but I'm still looking for it to drop. Euro Yen, don't know. Euro Swiss, don't know. Pound CAD, yeah, I'm looking for this to drop. It depends what the Bank of England says today, guys, but I can't see the pound getting any sort of boost. I'm surprised that came back up so much. We did forecast that, but it's come back up a lot. You would need to be brave to just jump into it, guys, or, brave or stupid, whatever way you want to call it. You've got to wait for it to start to drop. Set your alarm off, and then maybe on a lower time scale, look for a setup on it. Now, that's ideally what you're supposed to do, guys, if you're really trading properly. I've been a bit lazy in recent years or recent months with this, guys, whereas I'm not waiting for setups. But then you don't get it right when you don't, when you guess with these things, you don't get it right, guys. So what we do here is get a general idea where we think it's going to go, and if you get something that looks like that, that would be a time to do more research into it. On a technical basis for proper setups and where you put your stop loss, etc., guys. So the confirmation that was going to happen would be when it breaks out. And you shouldn't really be in that, because if you're in that, then you're guessing that it's going to go. And then when you get a little pullback of that, it could be sharp, it could be a nice little, zigzag. And then that's where you look to trade it down, guys. Pound Oz. Yet again, I can't see any reason for the pound to go long at the minute, guys, so I'm looking for that to drop. Pound New Zealand. Not as strong as the Oz at the moment, guys, so I would suggest if you're going to trade either of them, you'd probably look at the Oz or maybe the CAD rather than this one. But nonetheless, it still looks to me like it wants to drop. And for those people who are into shapes, I'm going to be sarcastic now. I know the mice and the rats and the dogs and the wolves and the butterflies and the bats, they all say Head and Shoulders. I'm aware of them. I don't trade them. But yet again, it just makes you sit up and think about it. Do we have a Head and Shoulders here? Because my fundamentals are pointing in that direction anyway, then this becomes more interesting, guys. I would never trade that just based on technicals. But if you have a fundamental reason that you think it's going to go short, then this may well turn out to be a half decent setup here, guys. Pound Swiss. Yeah, maybe it continues to drop. Pound Euro. Just leave it. I never trade it, guys. Pound Yen. Leave that one as well at the minute. Aussie Yen. Yeah, there's potential trade there, folks. This is now, when you get this, it's not 100% sure it's going to happen, guys, but it's a lot higher probability than when you don't get it. You've had an impulse there, you're having the correction, that's your setup, it should break out long. Is it definitely going to break out long? No, there's no definites in trading, guys. But anytime I say look for a setup, that's the type of thing you're talking about. Now, am I going to be? Let's keep an eye on it. I'll trade it, and we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll see where we get to with it, guys. Aussie, New Zealand. Yet again, it's another one I want to trade long, guys, but I want to see a bit more of a setup on that. Of course, you could always just get into it with a stop loss that's pretty wide, way down here somewhere. But just in case you do get a deeper pullback on it before you go. I'm not saying you're going to get that, but anything's possible in trading. But I do think it will go long. But the thing I would be looking for would be something more like that. Then you have your alarm line running down the side of it, and as it starts to come up, I would get involved there, so that when it comes to there, you've gone far enough to get your stop to zero in case it comes off again. Now that's fine if you get in there and it goes and goes and goes, but often it'll come back down again, then it'll go, or it doesn't always go nicely the way we would like it to, guys. Look at these moves here. Look at this. There we thought that's it, it's going to go. Look how deep it retraced. It actually retraced below zero. Then off it went again. Look how deep it retraced. That's easy 88%, guys. So off it goes again, and then you think, hey, I don't want to miss it. We'll jump in here. And there's a high probability that it'll come down deep again, guys. If it comes down deep again, then that'll be the place to get in. And then you trade that leg. Unless you're going to sit in it for a long time. But if you're sitting in it for a long time with leverage, it's going to cost you. So that's why I tend to jump in and out of currencies, because you're using leverage on it, guys. And therefore you get costs with it. And you get really stuck in something. Even if you get it back to zero eventually, it's cost you a fortune in fees. Aussie Swiss. Well, that's more the type of drawdown I'm talking about there, guys. I don't know if that's complete or not, but it's certainly closer to what you're looking for on a fib. That's 38.2. I would prefer, maybe down into there. And then as the alarm goes off, then your initial target, stop the zero, and then off you go again. Provided it goes. If it comes back down again, then you've lost nothing. Aussie CAD. Same thing, but it's not given as a setup. It's going. Could just continue to run like that, but unfortunately that's not a setup for me. I would have to see this coming off. And then Swiss yen. Yeah, this one's a bit unfortunate because I'm looking to trade this long. And the problem is, you see this going, the alarm goes off, you jump into it, and then it does that again, guys. And there is a potential for something like that before it goes down into the 61.8. I don't like calling them 61.8 golden ratio and all that, guys, because often they'll just come near it. It'll not be 61.8. It'll not be exact. It's about looking at it and looking at the overall structure, the shape of the thing, and if it looks right and it's near there, then fantastic. But remember, it can come to there and go. It can come into there and go. So there's no point in calling that 38.2 because it's not. It's broken at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. You just call it 38, guys. Come into the 38, come into the 50, come into the 61. So at some point there, this will turn and go long, guys. Is it going to go long from here? It could do, but there's too much downside risk on a technical basis for my liking, so I'll not be trying to trade that long. If it came down into here somewhere, I would certainly have a go at it. CAD Swiss, same thing with this, guys. Off it went. You get a little one of these. To see that little structure there, guys? That's the similar structure to what we were looking at there, only much smaller. On a, if we go into that maybe 15-minute time scale, you can see how that is very similar to what we're looking at over there in the CAD Swiss. If we copy that, where do we get our copy from? That's not it. No, it's not going to be exact, guys. So let's just take that bit and we'll copy it, and then we'll try and blow it up a little bit onto this CAD, because remember, it's going to be a different time scale. Let's take it to the 4 hours. And we'll clean that. So anyone that knows what I'm talking about, you'll, you know, move on or away and have a cup of tea or something. Anyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about, you might learn something here, folks. And this is about not getting into a trade and saving yourself pain as opposed to telling you there's a setup. So let's paste that. Remember, this is on 15-minute time scale. This is on 4 hours. But it's the structure we're talking about, guys. So you've had a move down, a little double top there, or, a drop, push back up, and then. So here we have it, and it's almost identical. Look, guys. Came up, dropped, put a new high in, dropped, didn't quite make it, and then off it went. Came up, dropped, put a new high in, dropped, didn't quite make it, and then off it went. And then it came down, it ran flat. And at this point, people could have said on the blue chart, hey, look, this is going to come long again. But if you bought in there, it did something like that, guys. While we're here, let's just go and copy the whole thing again, guys. Let's go back. Was it CAD Swiss we were on there? Yeah, because there's the thing we copied. I just noticed that little structure, guys, and that's why. So if we copy this, all of it again, but give the whole thing in, and then copy that one, go back to CAD yen on the 4 hours, and just paste that over there, and then get rid of that old one. Oh, we didn't copy the whole thing. Must have just copied the tail end of it. But there's what it ended up looking like, guys. So that's the point I'm saying to you. Is about can it go long from there? Yes, it can. But I'd be a lot happier if I saw a tail on it. The other side of that. And then from there, you'd have your alarm line. And then you trade it up into there. So when you come back over to the CAD Swiss on the 4 hour, let's take it to the 1 hour because it's clearer, as it were. Is that the bottom in and around here? And is this now going to, over the next lot of weeks and months, or weeks, or next lot of weeks, is it going to move up into there? That's the thing we need to think about. So what would you do about that? How would you go about that? Did I copy the whole thing? I did. I just didn't expand it out probably, guys. That was the whole thing. There's the initial drop, and then the little flat, and then off it comes. You look at the wee spike it put in before it went. So for me, with this one, I'll wait and see if that alarm goes off. And then we'll look in the lower time scale for a setup, and then potentially we trade this back up into there. CAD yen, same thing. To see it, guys. Oh, goodness. So there's the alarm for that, guys. Just come down. If you want to fib that, it's just below the 61.8. Is it possible for it to continue to drop? Of course it is. But if that alarm were to go off, I may well think, okay, here we go. We're going long on this. New Zealand yen. Looks like it's getting ready to go for the same reason. Look at the structure. Little zigzag. Is that about to go? New Zealand CAD. It's going, but I don't see a setup for it yet. I'd preferred that. That's one of those ones where it goes and then it runs and runs and runs and runs and runs. You never get a chance to get into it. But yeah, that's some potentially. Well, hold on, it's against the CAD, so I'm going to leave that one alone, guys, because you'd have to be looking for the CAD to go short then. and I'm not necessarily looking for that at the moment. So we'll just leave that one alone, guys. And New Zealand Swiss, there you have a better setup there. So potentially, but wait for the alarm. And we're in a situation here that you'll hear 3 or 4 alarms going off within an hour or two of each other. Because we've got that similar structure, not that one, this. There it is. There it is. There it is. And there it is. So if we start to get movement on that, you'll probably hear all those alarms going off on the same day. And then we'll come in the morning and we'll go, oh, look, we've had all 4 of those alarms go off. So now we have to have a think about, are we going to trade any of these up? Okay, guys, that'll do for today. Speak to you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.